could it be? But me, your man Louie T, along with my guy, Bad Dog Sports, here
Right.
chopping it up on
Chop it up.
behalf of the NFC East Super Friends. Week 2 in the National Football League sees the Washington Commanders hosting the New York Football Giants. So me and my guy Bad Dog are going to go head to head and chop it up and talk about this game and what we think ultimately is going to happen. But before we do, Bad Dog has a public service announcement.
That's correct. Tonight's Super Friends stream is being brought to you by the good people at BetUS. If you guys like free money and you like to bet on football, BetUS has a great deal for you. Enter the promo code YouTube150 when you go to betus.com. You get a 150% match deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits all the way up to $2,000 in bonus cash. You have great customer service. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. The fastest payouts in the business within 24 hours and 10% gamblers insurance against any net losses as long as you stay active every 6 months. Take advantage of it, guys and girls. Terms and conditions apply. And when you gamble, please do so responsibly. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. And if you're a betting person, I don't know who you take in this game. But we both had great weeks. I mean, we're both 1-0. We look like we're the best teams in the division. It's amazing. And then I woke up and I faced reality.
That makes 2 of us. Even Vegas doesn't know what the hell is going to happen in this game. The Commanders are currently 1-point favorites at home. So that tells you all you need to know, that Vegas is like, we don't have any clue what's going to happen in this game. And neither do either one of us. I want to start with you, Bad Dog, before we get into the actual game itself. To walk me through your emotions of week 1. You got the 100th year anniversary. You bring out the best of the best the Giants have ever put on the gridiron. I saw Carl Banks. I saw Harry Carson. I saw Phil Simms. I saw LT, one of the greatest to ever put on a pair of cleats. I saw Eli Manning, all the best of the best out there repping your squad. You got on the throwbacks. And you come out week 1, you got Sam Darnold at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. You're thinking you can take advantage of him. And then the game itself actually happens. Walk me through week 1 from your vantage point.
Yeah, week 1. W-E-A-K. Week 1. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. I don't know if anybody in this chat. I mean, listen, one thing I'll say is the post-game videos always do really well because, you know, I get a little mad when my team loses. And I can come up with some very good quotes from things. People enjoy some of my quotes. I think one of my favorite, the favorite quote, people loved when I said Daniel Jones. They say Daniel Jones is a one-read quarterback, but he's illiterate. So he can't read anything.
That's
right?
a good one. That's a good one.
People are like, oh, they love that, or they love, but he should be sitting on the bench with the clipboard saying, can I get you some water? Can I get you some Gatorade? Can I carry your effing bags? Yeah, it was really disappointing. It prompted Lawrence Taylor to tell Carl Banks at halftime, and Carl Banks came out and said this on Twitter on his Believe show. Lawrence Taylor went up to Carl Banks and said, I could take 22 of our guys and go out there and kick their ass. Lawrence Taylor doesn't watch Giants games. And I've said this, Louie, it doesn't matter what I think of the Giants. I can sit here and boo them. I can badmouth them. I can criticize them. All the fans can. We're fans, right? We've never played in the NFL. They don't need to respect our opinion. It's whatever. You know, it's what fans do.
Right.
When a guy like Lawrence Taylor, not just the greatest player in the history of the Giants, perhaps the greatest player in the history of the league, in my opinion, the greatest defensive player in the history of the league, when he says something like that, and he thinks that little of your effort and your performance, that type of thing needs to resonate in the locker room. When he says it, it means something.
Right.
You know, it was embarrassing. We lost 40-0 last year to the Cowboys to start the year, and that was really bad. I mean, that was really bad, but the Cowboys are in a different weight class than we are. Minnesota's not. Sam Darnold started 12 for 12. He never went 12 for 12 to start a game before.
Right.
It was terrible. And Daniel Jones was horrific. I mean, I'm no more excuses. I said right in the video, I said, LB spent about 3 minutes calling Daniel Jones ass. He could have spent the whole 3 hours of our stream calling him ass, and it probably wouldn't have been enough.
Right.
Disappointing is the best word I can use. I still get angry. I shouldn't even get angry. I should expect this That was just bad, man. Like you said, you got all the legends there.
Right.
Your 100-year anniversary. You got the throwbacks on. It's your home opener. You expect at
Better
least
effort.
a game.
Yep.
Not competitive. So
And,
just a terrible, terrible game.
And I think that's what did it for me was the atmosphere that was set. The stage was set, right? And you got all of the greatest players in franchise history in attendance watching this game. Like you said, Lawrence Taylor doesn't watch games anymore. So he's subjected to this. This is what he's seeing.
Yep.
And this is the product that you put on the field. And, you know, there's your GM, I think, caught a lot of flack because of the Hard Knock series and how things went and how much was exposed there to the process that the Giants went through. And maybe he didn't do enough. And, you know, just going through how everything went and then seeing that product in week one, it was a pretty bad look for the Giants organization overall. But luckily enough for you, you got us in week 2, right? the team that you love to see for whatever reason.
I know.
It always seems to get you right. And, you know, I've had Giants fans for years. This is the 3rd year in a row. Giants fans, would you just beat us, please? Right? 2 years ago, not so much because you were actually that year, right? We were fighting for the playoffs. Both of us were at that time. But last year in particular, Giants fans were like, could you just beat us, please? Seriously. Last year, we were both kind of fighting for the same thing, like the right to get one of these quarterbacks.
Right.
We got ours already. So I'm not in the same boat as you anymore.
Nope.
And so I can't rationalize losing to you guys anymore. Before it was, hey, we got to get to the QB before you, right? So it's either you or me. And if I got to take an L in a meaningless season that I know I'm not going anywhere, fine, let it be, right? I can't, that excuse doesn't resonate anymore. We got our guy, right? And I'm not in the business of trying to stop the Giants from getting their guy, right? If you're going to have a 4-win season, I can't, those 4 wins, none of them should be against us. That's my mindset, right? But we got to go out and we got to do it. It's funny. Somebody in the comment section said, you guys should argue as to why your team should lose this game. That's not why you should win this game. And you got LB in the comment section talking about buns versus buns, little buns versus big buns. So we got to take all of the jokes. We heard your jokes, okay?
Yeah, got to take them.
Right? We were both 0-1, and we neither one of us looked all that great. There's levels to how bad each of us looked, though. You know, the Giants were in a class all by themselves. Maybe we're along with Carolina. So it was really bad for the Giants.
At least Carolina scored a touchdown. We were the only team that didn't score a touchdown. We were the only team that didn't score 10 points.
Right.
Defense outscored us. You want to hear a wild stat, Louie?
Yeah.
There's a couple wild stats I heard this week. The Giants fans probably know this because I've said this on my channel a number of times. Since Daniel Jones signed that contract, he's actually thrown more touchdowns to the opponents than he has his own team. He's throwing 3 pick sixes and 2 touchdowns. Is that not insane?
Wait. Say that again. I that didn't compute. Hold on. Say that.
Daniel Jones, since he signed the contract, has thrown more touchdown passes to the opposition than his own team.
Oh,
he has thrown 3 pick sixes. He has thrown 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's because he missed
games, bro.
Yeah, because he missed some time last year. That's right. Okay. Because I was like, wait a minute. He signed that contract last offseason, right? So I'm like, he just played a whole season and only had 2 touchdown passes, but that's right.
He played 6 games, though.
Yeah, he did. That's ridiculous. That's
here's the other one. He's played 60 games in his NFL career. 60. In 1/3 of them, 20 games, he has not thrown a touchdown. That is more than a season's worth of football that he has not thrown a touchdown. That is insanity. That is absolutely insane. And it's prompting Giants fans to say we should get rid of our GM. I don't think we should get rid of the GM. I think they got to get rid. They have to get their quarterback, and then we'll see what they do. Right. But there's no question, Daniel Jones is weighing. He's bringing his team down. He can't play, man. He just can't. He don't have the instincts to do it. He don't have the reaction time. He's not. He can't read a defense, Lou. I mean, listen, people are like, oh, the line gave up 5 sacks. The line was in the top half of rated pass blocking this week. The Giants receivers had the 4th best separation of any team in the NFL, and we put forth this effort. This tells you what the problem is. Most of those sacks were on Daniel Jones, and the one where the blitzer came free, Daniel Jones has to see this and pick him out. This guy's coming. Somebody needs to account for. He doesn't do that.
Right.
You also, that was Could you, Brian Dable's play calling was terrible. Could you telegraph a screen more than you telegraphed that one? And if you're the quarter, I mean, I put blame on Dable for calling that too, but if you're the quarterback and you see that happen, you got to be like, I'm checking out of this. Mm-hmm. He doesn't do that ever. Right. So to me, man, you got to let Shane, and Dable is kind of worrying me a little bit, but you got to let Shane have his time, man. You have to, because if you keep changing over GMs, what GM's going to want to go to this organization where like, oh, I got to take over a shitstorm, and I get 2 or 3 years to correct it, and if I don't, I'm fired. Who wants that job?
Yeah, so, I think your job is still prestigious. It's still one of the blue bloods of the NFL, and even though it's not been good here of late. If they were to fire Joe Shane after the season, people would be chomping at the bit to take that job.
Yeah, you know.
And especially because it would be very similar to our job this past year, right? You're going to have a high draft pick, because the only way Joe Shane gets fired is if you got a top 3 pick, right? The season has to absolutely bottom out.
I don't think he gets fired, to be honest.
I don't either, right? I don't either. But hypothetically speaking, the only way that would happen is if you were one of the worst teams in football.
Yeah,
and you looked non-competitive. Even to your point, last year when you were losing games, you guys were ultra competitive and literally 1 or 2 games away from probably making the playoffs last year. Crazy as it sounds.
Yeah,
so
insane.
I don't see this team quitting on either the coach or the general manager. I don't see you being one of the worst teams in football. You're going to have a top 10 pick more likely than not. Yeah. But is it going to be high enough in the draft? Depending on who else is in front of you, are they going to be willing to trade with you? Because we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be, right? In terms of who comes out, what they look like.
There's a handful of guys. Quinn Ewers is coming out. Cameron Ward is coming out. Yep. Carson Beck's going to come out.
Right.
I don't know about Drew Aller. I don't know about Jalen Milroe.
Right, but you just named 3 guys. Well, Jalen Milroe stinks. So you just named 3 guys, right? And if you got the 7th pick in the draft in the top, just like this past year, all 3 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, all needed quarterbacks. You could be in that position where you got to take what's left, right? You don't want to be there.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's where you were this year.
But some Giants fans will want to be there. You know why? Because Giants fans are clamoring for Arch Manning, who won't be eligible until 2026. They'll be like, "Oh, it's time for Arch." I don't want to have 2 more bad seasons.
Yeah.
Give me Cameron Ward.
Yeah.
The guy I want. Give me Cameron.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you, Louie, the way we played, the only team I see worse than us is Carolina. Now, we do play Carolina, but they don't need a quarterback. They have their quarterback. I can't imagine moving on from Bryce Young.
I don't think they have their quarterback. If this continues, they're going to have the number 1 pick if this continues. And they may be after a quarterback.
Oh, they play us. I mean, they play us in Germany.
They play us too. They play our whole division. And so, we'll see what happens. Let's talk about our game. So
we have to.
Yeah. All right. So we're both 0-1 coming into this game, and for various reasons, we want to win this game. We're a step ahead of you in terms of our process. We're rebuilding, recalibrating, as they call it. You're yet to be able to do that because you're still stuck with that quarterback that's not going to allow you to reset and start your process. Correct. So in order for us to really get to where we need to be in our process, we have to start beating teams like you, right?
Yeah,
especially at home, right? Maybe if we go to New York and we don't get it done, I can explain that away, right? We just struggle there for whatever reason. But at home, we got to find a way to win. And we got a new name. Our stadium has a new name, right? We're going to be wearing our gold pants for the first time since 2018. Jaden Daniels is making his home debut. And Kayvon Thibodeau said that we're not rivals. Dante Banks was talking copious amounts of shit last year after the game.
Yes, he was.
Okay. And so, and then the Daniel Jones narrative of him just destroying us throughout his career. There are several reasons why we have to win this game against the Giants, because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of the Daniel Jones narrative. I'm sick and tired of guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, who I think is basic, by the way. I think he is basic as a pass rusher. I think he's a step above Chase Young in terms of his impact. right? He dominates inferior opponents, but when you put real talent in front of him, he's non-existent.
Like this week, when he faced Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah, exactly. Put him to sleep. Get him a pillow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is the type of week that he usually goes nuts, right? When you got a couple of tackles in front of him that, can't tell up from down, left from right, and that's when he goes crazy. And then you think, and then you look up at the end of the season, he's got 12 sacks, but he came in 4 games against 3 really bad tackles, right?
Right.
So I want to shut him up too. I think the antidote for slowing him down in a game where the tackles aren't great is Jaden Daniels. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the guy that I think is going to allow us to not be sacked 5 or 6 times, or sack, force, fumble like we had 2 years ago when Thibodeau forced that and changed that entire game. I think it's Daniels' legs. I don't know if you had a chance to watch us in week 1. You probably didn't.
So I saw part of, like, you guys weren't televised up here, Dallas and Cleveland was, but I was like, you know what? When Dallas is blowing them out, so I'm like, let me go to NFL Red Zone because I know it plays part of the game. So I was able to catch a lot of the second half of your game. Yeah. So it's like people are like, oh, Bad Dog is saying that Jaden Daniels took some big hits. When I saw Jaden Daniels run, he took some hits, man. You don't need to be knocked off your feet to take a big hit.
Yeah.
And I said when I did the post game around the NFC East, I was like, I felt like he left the pocket. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and kill him, but I'm like, obviously his legs are ahead of his throwing right now.
Right.
And that's dangerous. I mean, he's dangerous with his legs. There's no question. He's athletic. He can run. It is, like you said, that's the type of thing where, and Kayvon Thibodeau is a guy that'll overcommit. Jaden Daniels asked him. So
so you're absolutely right about.
I saw that enough. It's bad.
So his legs are definitely ahead of his arm because he trusts his legs more right now. And as he continues to progress, I think he's going to be dynamic as a passer as well. But right now, when he doesn't like what he sees, and the thing I love about him is he doesn't put the ball in harm's way very often, right? So he's not going to be a guy that's going to try to force it if it's not there. He'll just take off, right? And so 16 carries is a lot. And that's been a big topic of conversation this week. I don't mind him taking off 16 times if it's warranted, but it wasn't warranted. 16 times wasn't warranted in the game. He could have thrown it 5 or 6 times.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like he left early from the things I saw, but he's a rookie, and I think those are his instincts.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a process, and it's going to take time. And we got nothing but time, right, this year, because we're not playing for anything meaningful yet. You never know what this season could ultimately turn into. But as of right now, the big thing for me right now, and it's less about my offense, it's more about my defense. Defense was awful in week 1, right? So if I'm the Giants, I'm chomping at the bit to get an opportunity to go against a defense that gave up 37 points last week. And of the 9 drives that the Buccaneers had, they scored on 8 of them. Okay. So if I'm the Giants, they scored on 7 of their 9 drives because the last drive of the game, they didn't need to score. They took knees and the game was over. We only stopped them once is essentially what I'm telling you. We only forced 1 punt in the game. So if I'm the Giants, having only scored 6 points last week, no touchdowns, as you mentioned, was outscored by 1 player last week and Andrew Van Winkle or Van Ginkel. I would be chomping at the bit to get an opportunity to face the Commanders this week. And so that's the thing that has me just a wee bit nervous. And I actually think our defense is going to be good this year. I'm one of the few that think this defense has a chance to be good. After week 1's performance, a lot of people jumped off the ledge. And so they're going to have to clean up some things because we struggled with bunch and trips formations. The Buccaneers ran similar concepts to a go route, a corner, and then something underneath. So they ran a lot of high-low concepts.
Yes, mommy.
And
I don't know.
Sorry, talking to myself.
It's all good, man. Get Bad Dog Jr. right, man. Yeah. Get the little guy right. What up, man?
Hey, what's up, Louie? Hey, what's up, Louie?
He's like,
Can you tell Louie the Eagles stink?
The Eagles stink.
That's right. Look, man, bad dogs teaching them up the right way, man. That's what you got to take these young kids and you got to school them up the right way, man. So if nothing else, that kid knows he knows what he's supposed to know, right?
That's right. That's right.
The Eagles are absolutely garbage.
Yeah, I let him know that. He's got to.
That's awesome. I love it, man. Love to see the kids being reared up the right way.
Got to raise them correctly.
That's right. That's right. So ultimately, the high-low concepts gave us fits last week. Guys were running open. We had coverage busts. Communication has been a big topic of discussion. We could have sacked Baker Mayfield 7 times in the game. We only sacked him twice. We should have sacked him 7 or 8 times. We had 8 tackles for loss in the game. Our defensive line was spectacular last week. We just couldn't tackle anybody, right? So if we can do the things we did last week, but this time get guys on the ground, I feel good about the defense. And of course, communicate better, because although the Giants didn't look all that great, Malik Neighbors looked good last week.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors can play. By the way, I saw someone mention in the chat he's hurt. So there was an update. He's fine. It was just a little soreness in his knee. He's 100%. I saw that earlier though. My heart went in my thumb. I'm like, of course. He's fine though. He'll be okay. But yes, Louie, that if there was one good thing about our offense, it was him.
Boy, you guys miss Saquon too. That run game looks awful.
I'll be honest. Yeah, we don't have Saquon. None of these guys are Saquon. We didn't even have a chance though. Like Daniel Jones had more carries than Devin Singletary did in the first half. What are we doing? Like, that's the only thing. Why are we running QB power on the 5-yard line? And why are we running QB power on the frickin' in midfield? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are these play calls? I was like, what is this, Brian Dable? Because it's a 100-year anniversary. You're going back to 100 years ago when they ran that play all the friggin' time. Like, what the hell are we doing? I'm like, why are we running Daniel Jones? This guy's coming off a torn ACL. He's got neck, and you're running him head first into the defense. Hello, what are we doing?
I'm gonna tell you what he was doing.
Trying to get him hurt.
2 years ago, not with Drew Lock. If you had Tyrod Taylor, maybe, because Drew Lock stinks too.
We got this guy.
Well, you do. You know what? He kicked our ass last year. That's for sure. 2 years ago, when you guys were successful, Daniel Jones was successful as a runner, especially in the red zone. Right? There were games where you went read option, he kept it, took off, got to the corner, scored touchdowns.
Though, like these were just straight quarterback runs with nobody in the backfield.
Like draws, QB
like
draws?
Literally QB power. Like literally, he takes the ball and he runs to the left tackle with it. That's what he did. Or he ran to the right side once. Nobody. No threat. It was
like student body
draw. Not like a quarterback draw where he drops back to pass, delays, and then goes. It was literally he took the ball and ran.
It was student body left, student body right type.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, again, you know, coaches love that with a mobile quarterback because it gives them an extra guy in the block game, right? Because the quarterback is now a runner, and so you have an extra blocker in the play. But I think that's also Dable telling you, I don't trust him to throw the ball down here.
Facts.
You know, because how many times has he let Dable down? I think about that Seahawks game last year on national television where he got a wide open receiver in front of him, throws the pick 6, and Dable looks at the tablet and then chucks it in his direction like, you know, and
then left his ass out there to get sacked 12 times after the game was already
right, like to teach him a lesson almost.
People don't like him. I think it's obvious.
I mean, if you're Daniel Jones, how did you feel watching your head coach actively lobby to try to trade up to get someone else, not you, in the draft, right? I mean, it was crazy to watch that if you're Daniel Jones, knowing that they're trying to replace. I mean, look, he knows he hasn't played well. But to see that's jarring. To see your GM calling up his buddy, you know, to see the GM calling up the Patriots, hey, man, I mean, just trying to check to see what you're trying to do. You know, to see your head coach like sitting in a meeting and like, hey, would you trade up for Jaden Daniels? Hell yeah, I trade up for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
You know, like, I mean, if you're Daniel Jones, you feel like shit watching that, right? So, I mean.
Well, now he knows how the fan base has felt since he's got there. I mean, listen, I say this all the time. My your first reaction is usually the correct one.
Yeah. And
most people found me because of my reaction to that.
Yeah.
It's not my proudest moment, but I always joke around and say everybody, it's like 10 million people saw my reaction to that. That went viral. That's the only time I've ever gone viral anyway. When you're thumbnail, when you're the face of the thumbnail on SI.com with your veins shooting out of your neck, I wasn't happy, and
yeah,
we just haven't been good, man. And I try, Louie, I try to stick up for him, man. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. As a fan, you hope for the best, but after that first game, I'm like,
it's hard.
It's
hard, man.
And even in the preseason when he threw the pick six, you go, oh, he's rusty. I'm like, it's a bad decision. Like, it's not.
And that's the thing that I struggle with him is he's still making decisions that you would expect from a young quarterback that just got in the league that's trying to figure it out. I mean, he's been in the league. It's crazy because I know you talked about this a bunch of times, about his rookie season and how he accumulated all of those stats and things of that nature, but that's still by far and away his best season of his career. And that's
in 2 games. Think about this. I've told this too.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys, he had 5 touchdowns.
That's right. In overtime win. Yep.
Against the Jets, and I was at that game, he had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And against the Lions, he had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So 3 games, he had 13 touchdowns and no picks. And the other, I think he played 9 more games that year, had 10 touchdowns and 11 or 12 interceptions, or 11 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. And he fumbled 19 times that year.
Yeah.
But he did, at least you're like, well, he's a rookie. This happens. You're going to have your ups and downs. But yes, he slung the ball down the field. He looked different. He looked more confident.
Yep.
It's
gone downhill from there.
Here, man. I'll be honest. I think if there's a good chance the Giants cut him after this year, they can get out of the contract. I think there's a good chance he goes somewhere else. Someone's going to give him a chance. And honestly, I think he'll do better. But if nothing else, we're having a fresh start and getting the hell away from the pressure. Not only was Daniel Jones picked 6th overall way too early,
right?
He's following Eli Manning. I mean, those are big shoes to fill. And then you have this thing with Saquon, who's a fan favorite, our best player, right? They tried to sign Saquon in 2022 3 times. And people are like, oh, that Joe Shane didn't try and Hard Knocks. And I'm like, listen, I know, you got to remember, I work with some Giants insiders. Okay. I know more about the story than a lot of people do.
Right.
But it's off the record, so I can't really say much about it. All I'm going to say is I don't think Saquon really wanted to be here. I can't blame him. You could not tag both Saquon and Daniel Jones.
That's right.
They signed Daniel Jones in the 23rd hour. If they tagged Jones, Barkley's gone last year, not this year. You have that divide now. Not just with the fans. I felt like in the locker room. Oh, Daniel Jones has all this money. They let Barkley go. Now Barkley's gone. Completely gone. And you got a quarterback out there that's getting $160 million, not winning games and throwing more pick sixes than he does touchdowns. There is a ton of pressure on this guy, and he's wilting under the pressure. So if nothing else, he, for his own mental sake, probably needs to get the hell out of New York.
Yeah.
And for us fans, he needs to get the hell out of New York too. It needs to be a divorce. Sometimes you got to have a divorce.
So let me ask you this, and then we're going to start to talk about this game in terms of a prediction and what you think is going to ultimately happen. Are you rooting against the Giants this year to win?
No.
That's not how you are wired, right?
No, I will not now. But I did say this. Week 1 was so bad. Remember, WEAK.
Okay, right.
That was weak. That was week 1. I would never do that. Like, it's not in my DNA to really root for them to lose.
Right.
That was so bad. I said, this team is 2-8, 2-9. I probably will. I'll probably like, just tank it. Just go all the way to the bottom. Get your guy, because there's no reason there's no more victories at this point. Right? Last year was kind of fun. I enjoyed the Tommy DeVito thing. I wanted the Giants to win games. I still felt like we picking 6. We still could have got a quarterback. I'm glad they didn't reach, though. I'm glad they didn't say, we didn't get one of the guys we wanted. Let's reach for McCarthy. Let's reach. I love Michael Penix.
I'm about to say Penix.
I do love Michael Penix.
I thought you about to say you were a Michael Penix.
I'm a big Michael Penix fan. I'm just so scared because he had injuries. He's a lefty, which means a right tackle will be his blind side. You can't, although Illuminor's over there, you can't pay Andrew Thomas blindside tackle money and then have him be strong side protection. You know what I mean? I'm worried about that. I love Michael Penix, though. I do. I'm a big Michael Penix fan. But I was glad they didn't reach for Bo Nix. And they never brought, I don't think they ever brought Penix in for a visit. So I don't think they were ever going to take Michael Penix.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's this year. It's just like, you know what? If you're 2-9, get your quarterback. Stop. Don't win a couple of meaningless games that shove you back, and you're running this team back, because Giants fans are going to be like, what are we doing at this point?
So is the worst case scenario 7-10 for you guys?
No, if we're 7-10 and it's improvement, I think it's good. Worst case scenario for me is 5-12 and pick an 8th. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
7-10. If you play better and Daniel Jones somehow does improve and you win 7 games, I'm not going to be mad at that.
But you're stuck with him if you're 7-10.
But
I mean, because you could get to 7 wins like you did last year almost, with Drew Lock coming in and playing well and things of that nature.
Nah. Tyrod Taylor's way better than Drew Lock. You said it.
That's facts. But there's some teams on the schedule that will allow you to maybe get away with.
Who?
I mean, I said, yeah, Carolina's on the schedule, right?
Okay, there's one.
No, so we have Tennessee. Don't you play someone in the AFC South in that division? Don't you play someone? Is Indianapolis or someone on your schedule?
Yeah, the Colts.
That's
the end of the year. It'll be tanking at that point. We might get you guys at home.
Yeah,
that's 2.
Yeah.
Then we have the AFC North. Do you think we're beating any team?
I mean, the Browns are. Deshaun Watson stinks, man.
He does. What you see their defense?
Yeah.
You don't think Myles Garrett's over there looking at his chops going, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that should be a nice 6-16.
Okay. But the NFC North isn't great. NFC South, excuse me. We play that whole entire division.
That's true.
I mean, that division.
But Tampa Bay's good. I mean, that's a playoff team.
Tampa's good, and I think Atlanta will be better. I wasn't impressed with them in week 1.
I don't think Atlanta's very good, but I think they can beat us.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of games where you probably went in thinking we got no chance, and then you end up winning.
We'll see how we do, Louie. We'll see how we do against you guys, because, as you know, regardless of how bad the Giants have been,
that's right.
We beat you.
So let's get into that. So what do you see happening here, man?
I see. Is LB still in the chat? I see a tie.
Well, he said that. That's
what I'm saying. Is LB still in the chat?
No, I don't think he is. But he was talking that nonsense earlier about a damn tie. We're not tying with these guys again. I can tell you this. We've got kicking woes. So if it comes down to a late field goal, I got nothing for you, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll give us. Our kicker's good.
Yeah, Graham Gano, former Washington Redskin kicker. Yeah, we know all about it. We know all about it.
You know that normally I always pick us to be. I'll tell you what, Louie, week 1 really rattled my confidence a lot. I mean, I went in hopeful. I wasn't really optimistic, but we're really bad. Like, that was really bad. I really have no faith in, like, 0 now. And I really lost a lot of faith in Brian Daboll with that play calling. Your secondary is there to be had. It's a young secondary. I like our receivers a lot. If there's one part of the offense I think is pretty damn good, our receiver room is pretty good. And I thought the offensive line actually played pretty well. This is like every other game, Lou. It comes down to Daniel Jones. Which Daniel Jones shows up? Is it the Daniel Jones that has thrown more pick sixes and touchdowns since he signed the contract? Or is it the Daniel Jones that shows up when he plays you guys?
Right.
If that Daniel Jones shows up, we're going to win. Right? If this guy that's after he signed the contract shows up, we're not going to win. We'll probably lose ugly. And if we win, we'll probably win ugly. This is the way our games are. We're both bad teams.
Yeah.
It's usually 16-13 one way or the other. Usually we get the better end of this, against you guys, because something happens one way or the other.
Right.
I see that type of game, 16-13, 19-16, one way or the other.
Yeah.
But as much as I would love to come on here and go, we're going to kick your ass, because I love to say it, because we have.
Yeah. Fact.
I don't feel that in my heart.
Yeah.
I think we can win, but I feel like we can lose, and I never feel like that against you guys. Yeah. That's how bad week one
was. Yeah. I'm so this is what I'm hanging my hat on. Dan Quinn owns the New York Giants, and he knows how to defend Daniel Jones, and they have a plan for him. They don't respect his arm at all. They respect his legs. So if Brian Daboll is going to come into the game with that same mentality of, we're going to try to use Daniel Jones as a runner, I think we're going to shut that shit down, because we're prepared for that. If he's able to sling it and he's confident back there, then it could be problematic. Here's what I worry about. because I feel good. I actually feel really good about this game. I think our team is pissed after their first performance. They know they left a lot of opportunities out on the field, and it was not a good representation of what we think we're going to be this year. And so I think they've got a point to prove. And so here's what I worry about. I worry about Dexter Lawrence inside.
He's awesome.
He's a menace, and he's a game wrecker. And if with Jaden, he's young, and his first move is to run backwards to escape the pocket. If Dexter Lawrence is collapsing the pocket on the interior, he's going to run backwards where those two edge rushers are going to be, right? So you're running into the pressure. That scares me a bit. If we can double team him and keep him at bay, and he's got a chance to operate from within the pocket, because if the only way they're going to win, I think, is going inside. If you go inside on Jaden, he's just going to out leverage you, get to the outside and run, right? You can't come inside on Jaden Daniels, because the Bucs did that and he just took off. Yeah. And that's an easy 11, 12-yard gain if you don't have a QB spy. So I think the way that this thing could go off the rails for us is if Dexter Lawrence is wrecking shop inside and Jaden feels the need to try to escape around the back door, and then he runs into Brian Burns or he runs into Kayvon Thibodeau, right? And then on the defensive side, if we can't get to Daniel Jones and he gets comfortable into a rhythm, like that's what usually happens, is a lot of underneath throws, a lot of check downs and 5-yard hitches and stops, and he gets into a rhythm, and all of a sudden now he's feeling good about himself. And I think the biggest thing is we got to get him out of a rhythm early and make him feel uncomfortable, and then it snowballs. He starts to feel the pressure, and it's like a snowball effect. Yeah. But if he gets into a rhythm, they can get some easy completions. We were awful on third downs last week. 9 of 13 the Buccaneers were, right? That can't be against the Giants. And here's the thing. If you're converting third downs, fine. We can't give up the explosive plays, though. You can't get beat by Malik Neighbors for 66 yards. Darius Slayton can't get you for a 58-yard touchdown. You can't give up a 43-yard jet sweep to Wan'Dale Robinson or some shit like that. The more Daniel Jones snaps the football, the better it is for us. The more opportunities he has to snap the ball. All it takes is one play for him to undo a 13-play, 72-yard drive. Just takes one play, right? So you can't let the explosives happen. We had too many guys running wide open through our secondary last week. So if we don't clean that up, I worry. But I think they're going to clean it up. I think we got pressure last week. And I just told you we had 8 tackles for loss. So I don't think you're going to be able to run the ball against us. And I thought the Vikings had really good success with Aaron Jones in particular running the ball against you. So you add in the Jaden Daniels effect of what he brings as a runner. You have to respect that. I think we're going to have some rush lanes. I already told you, I think Bowen is a basic defensive coordinator. And I think that's going to hurt you guys even more now, because the offense isn't great. And now you're not creating turnovers. You're not, forcing the issue. Look, I get it.
I mean, we did get 2 turnovers against Minnesota. We had an interception and a fumble recovery. So, I mean, they did get a couple turnovers.
Yeah, the turnover was, the interception was a little fluky, but.
It was tipped up in the air.
Yeah, it's tipped in the air. That's what I'm saying. It's a little fluky, but.
Had a great tackle to force the ball free early in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm not a Shane Bowen guy. I think he's too basic of a coordinator. If you guys went up front, he's going to look like a mastermind. If he does, if you can't get pressure with 4, it's going to not look good for you guys defensively.
Right, because we have a young secondary too.
Yes,
but I'll tell you, the secondary made some plays where you can tell it's also there to be had. I mean, it's like I said, Sam Darnold started 12 for 12.
Right.
I pretty much tells you everything that you need to know. But this is the other thing with Daniel Jones. Talk about all these 5-yard hitches and these posts and all this stuff. I mean, I don't know if it's by design or if it's just Daniel Jones not throwing the ball deep, but I always sit there and say the defenders play in this little box knowing that everything's going to be in front. Like, they don't respect his arm. They don't respect. There's no threat. Even with the guy like Jalen Hyatt, who didn't get enough snaps, in my opinion. Even with a guy like Malik Neighbors, like, well, we're not scared of these guys because we know the quarterback ain't going to throw the ball deep. We're not worried about it. So every 5-yard hitch is like pulling teeth. I say this all the time. I watch all these games. These guys are running quick slants, 8 yards, 14 yards, like nothing. And we're trying to throw perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, and it looks like you're doing rocket science. It's like a 3-yard pass is so difficult for us to do. It's unbelievable how difficult it is for us to complete these passes. It's just crazy. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Dog, we had scoring opportunities on 5 of 8 possessions against Tampa Bay. If you go back to the preseason, Jaden Daniels led the offense on scoring opportunities all 3 possessions he was in the game. So if you take the preseason, add it into week 1, 8 of 11 on possessions on which he quarterbacked the team thus far. And if you want to throw out the preseason possessions, he wasn't playing against ones, fine. Last week against the Bucks, 5 of 8. Okay. And he missed the deep ball to Terry, which would have made it 6 for a touchdown. So I think we can move the ball. I think we're going to have success. I got us winning this game 27-16. 27-16. I think we finally win, and I think we win comfortably. And when I say comfortably, it's not like a blowout, but we're not sweating at the end of this ball.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? I think we win this game, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's 20-16 in the fourth quarter, and we put a drive together and we score a touchdown, and that's what kind of puts it away at 27-16. You know what I mean? Yeah. What you got?
Well, like I said, I in my opinion, I think it's an ugly game, and I don't think you guys will. Well, I mean, you might. I just don't see you score. I just don't see you scoring 27. I don't see it happening. Like I said, I think this is 19-16 one way or the other. And in my opinion, this game is going to come down to one big turnover. You know, whether that is Daniel Jones throwing another pick 6, or whether that's Dexter Lawrence getting pressure and maybe getting a blindside sack and forcing a fumble or tipping a ball up in the air or something. But I feel like there's going to be one big play that, you know, on defense that kind of decides this game. But listen, man, I watching you guys play the parts that I saw, like I said, Jaden Daniels is a rookie. I felt like he left the pocket too soon, but he can grow. It's his first NFL game. And I'm sitting there going, I'm looking at my guy for the 6th year. We know what he is. You don't know. And that's the thing. It's difficult to pick a quarterback. Chris and I and our show have done this. Like 70% of the top 10 quarterbacks have failed. But this is the thing. We could get Shedeur Sanders. We could get Cameron Ward. We could get Carson Beck. You don't know what they're going to be. They could suck too, but we know what we have in Daniel Jones. Everybody knows what there's no secrets here.
That's right.
So, I mean, I don't know how your defensive court, like Dan Quinn does he call your defense plays? Is it
Joe Witt Jr. calls the defense, but they're tied at the hip.
Because I can tell you this. The line I think is better, but the Giants have a hard time. Again, if you're bringing blitzes, Daniel Jones can't find these guys. And I think that's where, we could be in deep trouble. If you guys are bringing blitzes, disguising your blitzes, and Daniel Jones can't pick this stuff up and guys are running free at him, that's what forces these turnovers, So, again, I can't believe I have no confidence in this. I really don't. I really think we're going to lose. I honestly do. And like I said, it'll be 19-16, 20-16, something like that. I think you guys win. You have to beat us, right?
Yeah. It feels like it. It feels like
at some point. But I mean, I'm going back 12 years.
Yeah.
And again, it's totally different teams. I remember what Robert Griffin used to do to us.
Yeah.
The Giants have a very difficult time with mobile quarterbacks. So Jaden Daniels' legs are going to be a big deal in this game. Sam Howell can move, but he's not Jaden Daniels.
Right.
Taylor Heineke is not like they can't run like him. So
I was just about to tell you,
if we're able to squeeze him in the pocket, I feel like we can win. This is a big thing. We got to squeeze him in the pocket. We got to force him to stay there. And then I think we got a shot. But if he's able to get out of the pocket, make plays with legs, make plays with his arms, buy some time, we're in trouble.
Yeah. So. I think you're gonna be introduced to Jaden Daniels, and you're not gonna like what you see. But I also think we got a nasty 2-headed monster in the running back department.
I love Brian Robinson.
Yeah, and Austin Eckler was outstanding in week 1. So I think you guys are going to struggle with them too, as well as pass catchers and as runners. So I'm feeling really good about this. But it's not the first time I felt good going into a Giants game and been disappointed. So we'll get out of here real quick after these super chats. Let's knock these down real quick. The Derek J. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, the Giants can't afford to win this game. It's early. Like they're not thinking about tanking yet.
You know, next time I play you.
Somebody's going to get their first win of the season here. Someone's going to get a tally in the left-hand column, right? So I hear you, right? If because theoretically speaking, the Giants are probably going to stink this year. To what degree, I don't know. I don't think they're going to end up with the type of pick that they need to get one of the upper echelon quarterbacks, but we'll see what happens, right? The NFL is a week-to-week league. We do this all the time. We overreact to week one, and then the next week, a team that looked awful plays much better, right? So you just never know. That team could be the Giants this week. It could be the Commanders. It could be, some other team. The Panthers could look vastly different this week. You just don't know. The NFL is crazy in that way. Big O, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Jones got to go. The fans deserve better. And this feels like his last year as the unquestioned starter, even if the Giants don't necessarily draft someone because I think in that scenario, the Giants would have to finish like I said earlier, 7-10, 8-9, something crazy like that. Then he might be back next year because you were not in a position to draft a quarterback yet again, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I just feel like at this point, they know who he is, and they can't wait to move on from him. And the Giants fans absolutely deserve better.
I think our front office is ready. I mean, they're obviously ready.
Clearly, they're ready. They were trying to do it feverishly this year. The proof is in the pudding. Cruz 80. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, this is on you, Bab Dog. Go ahead.
He says, let's go, Big Blue. I hope we don't suck forever. Cruz, my friend, we're not going to suck forever. I've told Giants fans in my channel, this is cyclical. My son, when he was born, the Giants had the worst season in their history, right? They lost 13 games. It's the first time that it ever happened, okay? When he was 5, they made the postseason. When I was 6, the Giants made the postseason after having a terrible 70s. They were terrible. Then they missed the playoffs in 82 and 83. Then they won in 84, 85, and they won a Super Bowl in 86. It's playing out perfectly. I was 11 when they won in 86. My son will be 11 in 2028, right? When they play again. At 17 years in between Super Bowls, it'll be 2026 will be 2025 will be a playoff, 2026, and then we win in 2027. I was off by 1 year. So this is like our 1983 season. I'm telling you, it won't be forever. We're going to get a quarterback, and then we're going to move forward. It won't be forever. Louie, I've seen my team win 4 Super Bowls. I know how
Cuckoo's nest.
We go through a really bad period of time. We struggle. Then we win. In the 5-year block, we're really good. Then we struggle. In a 5-year block, we're really good. We're struggling right now. That 5-year block's coming up. It's not too far away.
This is the karma of John Mara. You're going to suck for a while. Hunker down, Cruz.
He's been there.
Hunker down.
He does suck, though.
Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, please let us put the nail in DJ's starting career. I'm looking to definitely help put dirt on the coffin. Like, he's already in the coffin. Like, but it's not locked, and it's in the ground, but there's no dirt on it. I'm willing to grab a shovel. Right, the Vikings put him in the ground. Okay, it's not locked, and he can get out at any time. I'm trying to start shoveling dirt onto the coffin. Right?
I think Giants fans are right.
I mean, you'll help, right? You guys are like, hey, give me a shovel.
I think Giants at this point will give me a shovel too.
Give me a shovel, I'll help.
Because we're either shoveling dirt on them or shoveling out of shit. It's one way or the other. Just give the Giants fans a shovel.
Yeah, I'm ready.
And
if you guys want to help, please, by all means. There's plenty of shovels.
It's tough being a Giants fan, man. It's tough.
Pandemonium. Look, you're preaching to the choir.
I know, I understand, but at least you guys have some hope. Like, it's new, at least. It's new. Yeah. You still may suck, but at least you don't know that.
Yeah.
We know what the hell we are.
Right.
That's tough. You knew what you were when Snyder owned the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said I'm still on cloud 9 right now. Like, because this is gonna be a fun season. A lot of fans overreact to week 1. This is a week-to-week league, as we both know. We've watched it long enough to know that some of the teams that looked horrendous in week 1 are going to look totally different, do a 180 in week 2. It's just the nature of the NFL. So I'm just hoping we're one of those teams that look drastically different in week 2 than we did in week 1.
We are too. Yeah. If we're ever going to do it, it's going to be against you guys.
Absolutely. You're not wrong. And if you don't, then you know it's over.
If you don't, I listen, we don't beat you, we could start 0-8. That's reality.
I said the same thing. If we don't beat you, we could start 0-6.
Yeah,
like it's a real thing.
It is.
Pandemonium, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, sorry, Louie, sorry to tell you, Jaden gonna go the way of RG3. You got the wrong guy, man. You got the wrong guy. He's nothing like Robert Griffin III. Robert Griffin III was so arrogant and self-absorbed. He was not a leader. He was phony. Guys could sense it. He fit right in with the last regime, right? With the last organization that with Daniel Snyder at the helm and Bruce Allen and all those guys. Jaden Daniels is a different animal. He's a different dude. He's wired differently. You guys are going to have to deal with him for the next decade plus, twice a year, and it's going to suck bad. But you'll find out. You'll find out. You get your first taste on Sunday. Don't you worry. It'll be pandemonium.
We'll see.
Chris and Bad Dogs interns, this is on you, man.
That's right. Chris and I mean, most interns work for free. Our intern actually pays us. That's how it's been.
That's awesome.
He says, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. I'm too busy stressing about my Giants. Don't stress. Go have I don't know how old you are. If you're 21 or older, go get yourself a nice adult beverage. If not, go get yourself a nice glass of milk or something. Have a chocolate bar. But don't stress out about the Giants. I love Daniels. He's going to be a top 2 quarterback in the division after we get Ward, of course. Yeah, listen. Let's get Cameron Ward. I'm with you. I'm a big.
He looks good so far.
I bet him on our sponsor, BetUS. Yeah. I took Cameron Ward 22-1 to win the Heisman. He's down like 8-1 after 2 weeks. I liked him last year. I liked Cameron Ward a lot, and I felt
what is it, Wazoo last year?
He Washington State. Yeah,
Wazoo. Yeah.
Okay. So he was there. Went to the portal in Miami. Looked great the first 2 weeks. Then he hasn't really played anybody incredibly tough.
Right.
It's been Florida, and then.
Still had to go to Florida. I mean, Florida stinks, but they still had to go there and on the road.
He's really good at Washington. So he turns the ball over a little bit, but I like him.
Is he 6 feet? Is he even 6 feet? He looks small, man.
Yeah, I don't think he's that tall. I don't think he's under 6 feet, but he might be right around 6 foot, 6'1". He's not really tall, but I'm not too worried about that. We have a tall now.
I'm over those guys. In college, you can back up 50 yards and throw it wherever you want. You can't do that shit in the NFL.
Yeah.
Carlos Rosado, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Carlos writes, salute to both of you. I'm an Eagles fan. I understand y'all pain, been through the bad years in the 90s and painful games. We need to get back to the best division. It's going to take a little while because quarterbacks run the league, and we just got ours and the Giants still don't have theirs. So until we can get to a place where every team has a quarterback in the division that you have to respect, it's going to be, this kind of top-heavy division where the Eagles and the Cowboys are kind of ahead, of the rest of the division. But I'm trying to make a power move now, and in order to make a power move, you got to beat teams like the Giants. You got to win these kind of games. So,
agreed.
DQ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hey, good game, Louie. That man JD was looking good. # go Bucks, baby. I told you. Jaden Daniels looked good. Like he missed some throws and didn't pull the trigger a couple of times and took off when he could have thrown it to his receivers. And that'll improve. He'll get better at that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a rookie,
But he played his ass off. He competed, and I think that energy is going to be obvious in this game against the Giants on Sunday. I really truly believe that. Lord Commander Manny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Bad Dog is the man. I agree. I second that notion.
I appreciate you, but how can I be the man when you the man? Is the question. How can I be the man when you the man?
Bad Dog is the man. Who doesn't like Bad Dog?
There's people that
who doesn't like. I haven't met one.
A lot of my fan base don't like me.
I haven't met that guy yet, Bad Dog. I'm sorry. Who doesn't like Bad Dog?
They're out there.
Christopher.
The funny thing is, people will say to me all the time on my channel, they're like, "Why are there so many Eagles and Cowboys fans here?" I go, because believe it or not, some of my best supporters they like me.
Who doesn't like Bad Dog?
I think they understand. I just have a good time with it. But I think part of it is I certainly can admit when my team is garbage. And I can always, even though it makes me sick, I can always give credit where it's due. I think that goes a long way. I just think it's a respect thing. They understand I hate their teams. They understand trash talk is part of it, but I do it in a fun, kidding manner. And I know that my team is caca right now.
Basura.
Buns, as Elby would say.
Christopher McLaughlin, my guy Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy Chris Mack. Writes, hi Lou and Big. Hey Lou and Big Bad Dog. Hope both of you are doing well. Bad Dog, enjoy listening to you and Chris.
Yes,
Two
sir.
questions. One, what has surprised you the most about your defense so far, rush D, and why? And on two, on offense, where have the deep shots been from Daniel Jones?
I don't know if I'd say, like, I don't know if there's really a surprise on our defense. Like, I don't really know what Bowen is. I didn't really see anything out of the ordinary. I thought Drew Phillips played a good game, honestly. I thought he was pretty good, which was impressive. And, you know, our secondary, I don't know. It's hard to say as far as that goes because it is kind of new. There's some inexperience in the secondary again. This is the first year under Shane Bowen. Brian Burns is new. So I don't really know if there was any surprises. Maybe just that Sam Darnold was able to start 12 for 12. That was kind of surprising. I thought we'd be a little better than that. On offense, this to me, again, Christopher, I don't know if this is by design with Dable. I really don't think it is. I think Daniel Jones is just scared to throw the ball deep. I honestly do, because when Tyrod Taylor was in there, we saw Tyrod Taylor throw the ball deep. We saw Tyrod, and everyone's like, oh, the offensive line was. I'm like, what are you talking about? The offensive line gave him 8 Giants fans. The offensive line was better when Tyrod. No, the Tyrod Taylor got hurt too. Okay, so the offensive line stunk all year, no matter who the quarterback was. But he extended the field, and I felt more confident when Tyrod Taylor was in the game, saying, "Hey, at least, we may not win, but at least there's a threat of throwing the ball more than 20 yards in the air down the field." I really don't know. I really think Daniel Jones is just in his head. He's scared to throw the ball. He's afraid to make a mistake. He's got no confidence. He doesn't throw anybody open. He delivers the ball late. On slants, you're supposed to lead the receiver. They have to stop to catch the ball, or he throws behind him. And as soon as you do that, either it's incomplete, you're going to stop the yak yards, or the cornerback or safety is going to jump the route and pick the damn ball off, which we've seen a lot from him. So it's frustrating, man. Frustrating.
Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Swaggy P. My guy, Swaggy P writes, Commanders ending the Giants curse on Sunday. Hashtag HTTC. I believe so. I really, truly do believe that is going to be the case.
I don't have confidence in us, but like I said, if we're going to beat anybody, it's
going to be us. You're right. You're right.
If Daniel Jones ever has a I found it game, it's against Washington. It's the truth.
Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat.
It's insane.
It is. It is. But you know what? As crazy as it's been, when I think back at all of those games and the performances, I could see how they happened. Like, I understand how he was able to play well, right? Because we were one of the worst coach teams in football. And some of the games where he's gone off his rookie season, 5 touchdown passes, we were awful. That was the toilet bowl, if you recall. That was for Chase Young, right? Remember, we were both awful.
Yes, it was.
Right. And I wanted to lose that game. I was actually upset when I think it was Colt McCoy or Case Keenum. Somebody came in the game. I think it was Case Keenum, and tried to bring us back. And we went to overtime, and then he took the y'all down the field and he scored a touchdown in overtime and beat us. I was like, what the hell are we doing? We're blocking punts and shit. Like, we're trying to come back and win this game. Are you kidding me? Stop it. Right. I see this team being better coached, and that's going to lead to us not losing games to teams that we should be able to handle. That's, you lose games that you're not supposed to lose, I think, because of coaching. Right.
Yep. Agreed.
And so I don't see that happening this time around. But again, stranger things have happened. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, happy bad dog or mad bad dog? Which is more fun for you? Happy bad dog or
I think happy bad dog is definitely more fun. Yeah. I think mad bad dog is funnier. Like, I think he's more funny. I'm more fun when I'm happy, but I'm funnier when I'm mad.
I think the viewers enjoy mad bad dog.
Oh, they love when I get pissed,
Yeah,
especially
much more.
the other teams in the division. They
Yeah.
love.
Oh, they love it. They show
can't
up for
wait
that.
to see that. Oh, they're like, I can't wait. I get my popcorn. Oh shit, I can't wait.
Yeah.
After the game, like I got like 20 minutes. Let me go get my popcorn. Let me go get a beer. Let me get whatever I got to do. I'm gonna sit down and watch this guy lose his shit on camera. That's
right. That's right.
Because again, I don't know where I come up with some of these quotes, but people they find quotable things in there, and they love. People loved that. They say he's a one-read quarterback. That motherfucker's illiterate. They love it. And it deliveries,
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one, so that's a good one. That one would have me out of my seat on that one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. 2022 was a fun year. It's like the only fun year I've had,
right,
in a long time.
Right.
So I was definitely. It's more fun for me to be happy, but
it's a shame that, and I talk about this with our fan base. It's a shame that we do that, right? Because we have so few years where we win. Yeah. Those few years that are good, they're so much fun, and you relive them over and over again because you can't live in the present because you suck.
I know.
So you always hark back to the man. 22 was fun, right?
22 was fun.
I'm trying to create new memories. I always tell the fan base that we're trying to create new memories.
I will say this. I've mentioned this before. 2021 was horrendous. Like when Jones got hurt, we knew we had no chance of winning any game with Jake Fromm or Mike Glennon. We knew it. Right. But I've always said I felt like Joe Judge gave me my best content that year because every game, every post game, there was always something new. I came up with you remember how Joe Judge used to make the guys run laps when they would mess up?
Yeah.
And the first game of the year against Denver, we get blown out, of course. And when do we not get blown out in our opening game, except for 2022? Denver scores and he throws a challenge flag, and you lose a time. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how do you not know all scoring plays are automatically reviewed? You can't challenge it. So at the end of that game, I scream about that, and then I say, "You run laps, Joe. You run laps." That was there the entire time. Then I broke out clown music when we started to suck. And the last game of the season when we played you guys,
the quarterback sneaks.
I brought out a roll of toilet paper and said to my buddy Chris, I go, "This is our playbook." So people always remember the toilet paper playbook. Like I just come up with, I did the press conference where I imitated Joe Judge.
Yeah.
And they
I remember that.
So yeah.
Yeah. Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah, great times. Yeah, great. Good times. Looks terrible.
Good times, man. Jaquan Cooper, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, JD has to throw the ball this week. And he will. And he threw it last week, and he completed 70% of his passes last week, 17 to 24. He'll be fine. I'm looking forward to seeing him against a defense that won't pressure as much, that won't have as many complex looks and exotic looks as Todd Bowles did in week 1. I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable this week. We'll see. Steve, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Louie T, post up. He says, enjoying the show. I like Bad Dog too. Salute.
Appreciate you, Steve.
Says maybe we can both beat the Eagles and Cowboys. Good luck this week to DJ at Pick 6. Hey, we had no turnovers forced last week. I need one.
I'm still living off of beating the shit out of the Eagles 27-10. So until we play them on October 20th, I will continue to do that to them. Yeah. Just let them know that we made them quit. They pulled all their guys out. They threw in the towel. They tapped out. It's nope, you got no part of this. Hurts called up and Wink crying. Oh, what'd you do to me, Wink? Yeah, so we embarrassed them. The Giants embarrassed them. That probably won't happen on October 20th, but at least I have it till then.
Look, you never know, right? You never know. In this, Jalen Hurts didn't look great. He didn't look good in that first game. He made some plays though. When they had to have it, he made it.
I say that to you. He does make plays. I'll tell you this though: we are never close to beating Dallas.
Yeah,
Dallas kills us.
I say the same thing. Like which I'm looking forward to this year because Dan Quinn is in the building and no one knows that roster and the things that make them tick more so than Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. because they had been there the last 3 years. So I'm hoping that helps because, like you said, the one team in the division that kicks our ass is Dallas.
Dallas messes us up big time.
GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I got GT7 writes, hey, Louie, Bad Dog, how do you feel about the little Giants linebackers?
I mean, I like our linebacker. I love Okereke. I don't know what McFadden's going to be in this defense, but I like McFadden. And again, you got Burns. Like these guys are like hybrids. Like I don't really know what the Giants run. I think it's more of a 3-4.
3-4, right? Yeah.
But so, I mean, I like Thibodeau, but like Louie said, he's inconsistent. He's a guy, JPP used to do this, man. He would have 13 sacks in a year, but like 9 of them would come in 4 games.
Yeah.
And then it would kind of disappear the rest of the time. Thibodeau's like that. He kind of gets his stats against weaker opponents. I like Brian Burns. Haven't really seen enough of Brian Burns, obviously, in this system. It's his first game with the Giants. I like our linebackers. I like our front 7 a lot. I really do. I think the secondary is a question because it's young. Drew Phillips is a rookie. Tyler Nubin's a rookie. Tay Banks is in his second year. I mean, Pinnock is like our experienced guy.
Right.
McLeod. Cordell Flott is a third-year guy. I like our linebackers. I would like to see. I don't know why Isaiah Simmons didn't get 1 snap in the Giants game, but I think they'll get better. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but all these guys are learning a new system now. They were under Wink's system. Now they got to learn a new system. Even Brian Burns, he comes from Carolina. He's learning a new system. I like our linebacker. I like our front 7. I think our front 7's formidable. I think they'll get better as the year progresses.
Long way, Jay. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. So let me give a shout out here to BetUS. Here is the line for the game. Brought to you by BetUS. Once again, if you'd like to sign up for BetUS, go to betus.com and use the promo code YouTube150 to get 150% off on your sign-up bonus for up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Promo code YouTube150. As you can see, Giants are +1. I think the number has moved to 1.5, if I'm not mistaken. I think that number is now at 1.5, -1.5 for the Commanders. But again, that number's not going to move very much. Okay. No. The total is 44. Bad Dog thinks that the total is going to be under here.
So did you. You said 27-16. That's under.
Yeah. I think it's got a chance to go over, but I think it's going to be under as well. But because the Giants don't score, not because we don't do our part.
Yeah, we don't score.
Yes. I think we're going to do our part to try to push it over, and the Giants are like, nah, I think 43 is good. We're good here. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us here on the show. We got one more super chat here from Going Commando. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Going Commando writes, what up, Bad Dog?
What up?
If Jones turns to Vanilla Vic Sunday, I will officially retire from Washington fandom and cancel my Sunday ticket. Okay. You know what?
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, if Daniel Jones has another big game against you guys, I don't even know what to say because he is not close to where he was when he was beating guys. If he turns into Vanilla Vic and has a game where he throws for 264 yards and a couple touchdowns and runs for 1, and we win the game like 27-20 or something. I don't know what to say. Maybe at that point, you guys are just going, we'll never beat the Giants. If we can't beat them now, when are we ever going to be?
I probably might have one of those Bad Dog meltdowns on the post-game show if that happens.
I want to win. I want to see that because I don't know if I've ever seen you have one of those.
Oh, I've had plenty of those before.
Have you?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never seen.
I've had meltdowns.
I don't know if anybody going like I do.
No. I can't get to your level, but mine is more comical. Like I'm more like making jokes about the performance than I am like screaming at the top of my lungs.
I throw both together.
Yeah. You mash those together really well. I've calmed down a lot because I realized, at least before, like I got renewed hope. But when Daniel Snyder was the owner, I was like, bro, this is what you're going to get. Like, the football gods are not going to allow you to win.
So I work with Patty Trainer. She's a writer for the Giants, right?
Yeah.
She actually she DM'd me on Twitter. She goes, dog, are you okay? She goes, I was afraid you're gonna pop a vein. I go, I'm good, Patty. I calm down. It's a part of that post game video is just getting all my frustration out, and then usually the next day I'll analyze the game. I'm much more calm and reserved about it, and then I always do a live stream the day after the game, and we talk about the game. But yeah, that initial emotion from losing, it's just people are like, why are you getting so mad? I'm like, I don't know. I just do because I'm frustrated. It's been a
but you care.
I do care.
That's the thing. We care.
I say it all the time. My grandfather, he was alive when the Giants were conceived. He was alive in 1925. He passed it on to my dad. My dad passed it on to me. You could tell I passed it on to my son. So the Giants, since they have been in the league, have been part of my family. I've been a Giants fan for 41 years. It's like I said, it's embedded. The Giants are like family to me. And I get very emotional about it because it meant a lot to me growing up to go to the games with my dad and my grandfather. And the same thing with the Yankees, like which I'm wearing today, obviously too. It's embedded, like it's passed on. It's a family thing for us, so it's in my blood. So I do get very emotional when they lose, and I get very emotional when they win Super Bowls. Like I've cried when they won Super Bowls because I'm just so happy. And I tell younger Giants fans, when it actually happens, you'll appreciate it more. I miss the 70s. I came on board, started watching them when they were good.
You got spoiled.
My dad grew up in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, and they were terrible. And I could tell it meant a lot to him when he was very emotional when they won it in 86. So, again, 86 is special to me. I think more than 1990 Giants were more my team because I was able to understand a lot more.
You were older.
And I was older, and I kind of got it a lot better. And I kind of understood the history and what they went through to get here and all this other stuff. But so I say, younger Giants fans, I feel bad that they haven't experienced it, but it is one hell of an experience. And I love the Giants with every fiber of my being, which is why I do get so mad. And I can't help it. I'm an emotional guy. Look at it there.
I can definitely relate. I have those same conversations with Commanders fans. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for us. We thank you guys. There were over 400 of you steady throughout the stream. Got to as many as 600 of you. Really appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button on the way out. We really appreciate all of your support. Can't wait to see what this game brings. Hopefully the Commanders get it done and we can break this Giants curse that has been hanging over our heads. Daniel Snyder's no longer here, so I think the curse is going to be broken.
But Daniel Jones is still here, so
I think that's going to be a good thing for us this time.
Maybe. Well, I mean, I'd argue if I could, but you never know. Like I said, Daniel Jones goes from Clark Kent to Superman against you guys.
That's right.
So you may see the old Cam Newton.
He might open it up this time.
You might.
Hey, I appreciate you, Bad Dog, man. You guys have a good one. Take care. Super Friends are out.
Peace.